Rain came down in sheets, drenching everything in silver. Lagos streets weren't safe at night, but Maya never cared much for safety. Her grandmother used to say she had too much heart for her own good, and tonight, that heart was about to ruin her. She spotted him near the corner of the old bridge, an old man, slumped against the wall, one shoe missing, his gray hair plastered to his forehead. People walked past without so much as a glance. Maya slowed down, clutching her umbrella tighter. "Sir? Are you okay?" she called out, stepping closer. No response. Her sneakers splashed in a puddle as she crouched beside him. His breathing was ragged, his hands trembling. She hesitated for a moment before reaching out. "Let me help you up." The world went black. Something sharp pricked her neck. Her umbrella fell to the ground. She heard muffled voices, heavy footsteps, the sound of a van door sliding shut, and then nothing. When she woke up, the air was cold and smelled like rust and damp cement. Her wrists were bound. A single bulb swung above her, throwing eerie shadows across the walls. Panic hit her like a wave. "Hello," she screamed. "Is anyone there? Please." Her voice echoed. The only reply was the distant hum of a generator. Maya pulled at the ropes until her skin burned, tears stinging her eyes. She remembered the old man, his shaking hands, his silence, and a sick realization twisted in her gut. The door creaked open. A man in a black mask stepped in, holding a clipboard. His voice was flat when he spoke. "Lot number 09. Scheduled for transport in 3 days. "Transport where?" she shouted. He didn't answer. "Where's the old man?" "The one I helped." He paused at the door, turning just enough for her to catch his smirk beneath the mask. "You'll see him soon enough." The door slammed shut. That night, Maya didn't sleep. She counted every sound, every flicker of light through the cracks in the wall. Her body shook with cold, fear, and anger. She tried again and again to free herself, biting the ropes, using a broken nail to scrape the knot, but nothing worked. By the 3rd day, she had no tears left. When they came for her, she didn't fight. They blindfolded her, dragged her through corridors that smelled of oil and blood. She heard voices, laughter, the thump of music from somewhere above. When the blindfold came off, she was standing beneath golden chandeliers. Men and women in designer suits filled the hall, drinking wine and murmuring over glass cases filled with guns, diamonds, and her. She was the only human on display. The auctioneer grinned. "Ladies and gentlemen, our final item for the night, Lot 09. Unique. Untouched. Strong spirit. Let's begin the bidding." Maya's heart slammed against her ribs. Her vision blurred. Then, the doors burst open. The crowd fell silent. A man walked in, tall, sleek, dangerous. His black coat trailed behind him like smoke. His eyes, green, sharp, and unreadable, cut through the room. No one dared to breathe. He said nothing. He just raised his hand and pointed at her. And just like that, the auction was over. Maya didn't know how much she was worth, only that her life was no longer her own. When Maya opened her eyes, the first thing she noticed was the silence. No chains, no shouting, only the slow, rhythmic tick of an antique clock and the faint scent of sandalwood. She lay on a bed far too soft for a prisoner, silk sheets, a chandelier above, curtains the color of blood pooling against marble floors. Her heart pounded as memories flooded back. The auction, the old man, the green-eyed stranger. She shot upright. Her wrists were free. The door creaked open, and a woman in a crisp black uniform stepped in. Her expression was blank, rehearsed. "You're awake," she said. "Mr. Li will see you when you're ready." "Mr. who?" Maya demanded. "Mr. Li," the woman repeated, setting a tray on the table. "He asks that you eat first." Maya's stomach growled, but she ignored it. "Where am I? What does he want from me?" The woman didn't answer. She only bowed slightly and left, closing the door with a click that echoed in Maya's chest. For a long moment, Maya stared at the food, fruit, soup, bread still warm. Her hands trembled. If this was some kind of twisted trick, She wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing her break. She pushed the tray away and stood. The window was locked. The door, too. She pressed her ear against it. Nothing. And then footsteps. Slow. Steady. Coming closer. The door opened. He filled the doorway like a shadow, tall, tailored in black, his green eyes colder than she remembered. His hair was slightly damp, as if he'd just come in from the rain. Maya's breath caught. "You're awake," he said, his voice smooth but unreadable. His English carried the faintest trace of a Beijing accent. She glared. "What do you want from me?" He didn't answer immediately. He studied her, his gaze flickering from her trembling hands to her defiant eyes. "You were sold to me." "That's not an answer." His lips curved faintly. "It's the truth." "You're disgusting," she hissed. "You think because you bought me." "I didn't buy you," he cut in softly. "I rescued you." Her laugh was bitter.
Right.
"You expect me to believe that? That was a rescue." "I expect you to eat," he said, turning away. "And to stay alive until I decide what to do with you." The door shut behind him. Maya's fury trembled inside her like electricity. He thought he could own her, control her, fine. She'd play along. For now. Days blurred together. She learned little about him, except that everyone in the mansion obeyed him with wordless fear. His name was Li Wei. The guards called him Sir. Others whispered boss. He treated her like a ghost. She ate well, slept in luxury, but never saw the outside world. He visited occasionally, always calm, always distant. Once she snapped. "Why are you keeping me here if you're not going to do anything?" He looked up from his glass of whiskey. "Would you rather I treat you like the others do?" "The others?" "The ones who bid for you." His voice hardened. "You wouldn't have survived the night." Something in his tone made her chest tighten. But she masked it with anger. "So you're my hero now?" "I'm not anyone's hero." His eyes glinted like stormlight. "You shouldn't mistake me for a good man." That night, she couldn't sleep. The house was too quiet. The rain outside beat against the windows like a warning. Her mind replayed his words. You wouldn't have survived the night. What did he mean? Why keep her alive if he wanted nothing from her? She slipped out of bed, pacing barefoot across the cold floor. If he wouldn't give her answers, she'd find them herself. She tiptoed to the hallway, pushing the door open. The mansion stretched like a labyrinth, endless corridors, paintings of faceless men, locked doors. She followed the faint sound of music until she reached a balcony overlooking the main hall. There he was. Li Wei stood by the grand piano, sleeves rolled up, cigarette between his fingers, staring into the fire. His expression was unreadable, something between regret and exhaustion. For a moment, she forgot to breathe. He looked up suddenly, as if he'd felt her gaze. Their eyes met. "Maya," he said quietly, her name rolling off his tongue like silk. "You shouldn't be here." Her voice trembled. "Why are you doing this to me?" He hesitated. "Because the world you stumbled into doesn't let people go easily." "Then let me go anyway," she whispered. "Please."
His jaw tightened.
He turned away.
"You don't understand."
"If I let you go now, they'll find you again, and next time, I won't be there." Her chest ached. "Then what am I to you?" He was silent for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was low, almost pained. "Safe. For now." He walked past her, the scent of smoke and rain lingering in the air. And for the first time since her capture, Maya wasn't sure whether to hate him or trust him. Maya stopped counting the days. The mansion's clocks ticked, the servants whispered, and Li Wei moved through it all like a ghost that breathed authority. He said little to her, but she felt him everywhere, his footsteps, his scent of smoke and rain, the sound of his voice carried down corridors. At first she avoided him. Then avoidance became impossible. Something inside her refused to stay invisible. If he meant to keep her locked away, then he'd have to see her. Breakfast, day 12. He was reading files at the long table, sleeves rolled up, attention fixed on a laptop. Maya walked in wearing one of the silk robes the maid had left. She didn't mean to choose the red one. It simply drew her hand. Li Wei glanced up, stilled. You're late, he said. You never told me there was a schedule. She sat across from him, poured her own tea with shaky hands. He returned to the screen. You're recovering. Recovering from what? Kindness. His eyes lifted again, sharp. You think this is kindness? I think you enjoy pretending you don't care. Her voice was quiet but steady. The silence stretched until she felt the weight of his gaze burn against her skin. Careful, Maya, he said finally. You're playing with fire. She smiled, small, deliberate. Maybe I like the heat. He left the room without finishing his tea. That was how it began. Small provocations, harmless gestures that were not harmless at all. She found reasons to pass through his study, to ask questions she didn't need answered, to look at him a second too long. Each time he told her, don't. Each time she pretended not to hear. It wasn't power she wanted. It was truth. Why would a man buy her freedom only to cage her in gold? One night she wandered into the garden to breathe. The sky was heavy with rain again, thunder murmuring far away. She closed her eyes, feeling the cool air slide over her skin. Couldn't sleep? His voice startled her. He was standing near the fountain, jacket draped over his arm. Moonlight touched the scar along his jaw, a detail she hadn't noticed before. I thought I'd earn some fresh air, she said. He walked closer. You earned your life. That's more than most from that auction can say. Maya turned to face him. Then why not let me live it? Because they're still watching, he answered. And if they think you're mine, they'll stay away. The words hung between them, sharp as the scent of rain. So, I'm a shield, she murmured. You're alive. His tone softened. Don't look for meaning beyond that. But when she looked up, his eyes betrayed something. Weariness, regret, maybe even longing. For one suspended heartbeat, she thought he might touch her face. Instead, he stepped back. Go inside, Maya. She didn't move. What if I say no? His jaw flexed, the smallest crack in his calm. Then you'll make me forget who I am. And he left her standing there, heart hammering, unsure whether she wanted him to remember or forget. Later, unable to sleep, she found herself tracing the edge of the locked desk in his study. Her fingers brushed a photograph half hidden under papers, a younger Li Wei in military uniform beside two men she didn't recognize. A government seal marked the corner. Before she could look closer, a noise at the window made her freeze. A man in dark clothes crouched outside the glass, motioning for silence. He looked terrified. Who are you? She whispered. Someone who can get you out, he said quickly. But I need something from you first. A flash drive. It's in his office. Get it, and I'll take you home. Maya's pulse roared in her ears. Freedom, real freedom, so close she could taste it. The stranger slipped back into the shadows. She turned toward the hallway where Li Wei slept, torn between fear and curiosity. For the first time, she realized she didn't know whether escape meant running from danger, or running from the only man who had kept her safe. Maya waited until the mansion slept. Rain lashed the windows, thunder rolling low over the city. The storm made good cover. She moved barefoot down the hallway, the candle in her hand trembling with every heartbeat. The flash drive, the stranger's promise, Li Wei's warning, each thought tangled in her chest. His study door gave under a careful push. The smell of smoke and cedar filled the room. Papers lay scattered across the desk, the photograph still half hidden beneath a file stamped with red ink. She found the locked drawer, the one she'd seen him open only once. A small key glimmered beside a half-empty glass of whiskey. Inside, a silver flash drive. Her breath caught. She reached for it, then froze. You shouldn't be here. His voice came from the doorway, low, rough, and far too close. Maya turned. Li Wei stood there, hair damp from the rain, shirt open at the throat. The look in his eyes wasn't anger. It was something darker, something she couldn't name. I couldn't sleep, she whispered. He stepped closer. You're lying. The candle flickered. I just want to understand, she said. Why me? Why keep me here? Lightning flared, outlining the sharp planes of his face. Because if they think you belong to me, you live. That's all the reason I needed. She took a step forward, the flash drive hidden in her palm. And what if I stopped belonging to anyone? For a heartbeat, neither of them moved. Then the candle went out. In the dark, she felt his hand close over hers. Warm, steady, careful. Maya, he said softly, don't test what you don't understand. I'm tired of being afraid. His breath shuddered against hers. And I'm tired of pretending I don't see you. The words broke whatever walls stood between them. The rain outside grew heavier, drowning the world in noise. They didn't speak again. There was only closeness, the electric tension of two people who had spent too long in silence finally letting it crack. When morning came, she lay awake, watching the pale light climb over his face, wondering if she'd just betrayed herself or found a truth she didn't expect. She slipped out of bed before dawn, guilt twisting through her. He had trusted her now, trusted her more than he should. The flash drive lay where she had dropped it on the nightstand. Her hand hovered above it. The stranger's words echoed, I can get you out. By the time Li Wei stirred, she was gone. She ran through the rain toward the waiting car, the stranger motioning from the driver's seat. You got it, he shouted. She nodded, breathless.
Yes.
Just go. The city lights blurred past as they sped away. Freedom felt unreal, fragile. She laughed, until the car began to slow. They turned down a familiar road, one she'd seen before. Her stomach dropped. The same casino. The same underground entrance. The man smiled thinly. You really thought he was the monster? Realization hit too late. Li Wei hadn't been her captor. He'd been her shield. Hours later, when the raid began, gunfire, shouts, sirens, she saw him again through the chaos, moving with precision and fury. Government insignia gleamed on his jacket. He didn't look at her as he passed, only said to the officers, she's a victim. Let her go. When it was over, she tried to speak, to explain, but he turned away. Now you're free, Maya, he said quietly. Go home. And for the first time since that night on the bridge, she wished she wasn't. 1 year later, the badge felt strange in her hand, too light for what it meant. Detective Maya Aluko, Special Task Force. She had spent 12 months rebuilding herself from the ashes of that night. Training, fieldwork, long hours, and a purpose that finally made sense. Every rescue mission reminded her of what it meant to be terrified and alone. Every victim's face brought back the girl she used to be. Now her first real assignment had come. A joint operation with a covert Chinese agency. Human trafficking ring. Same pattern. Same casino. When she entered the conference room, the world tilted. He was there. Li Wei stood at the head of the table, hands clasped behind his back, dressed in black tactical gear. Those green eyes didn't flicker, but she saw the quick inhale, the tightening of his jaw. Agent Li, her commander said, this is Detective Maya Aluko, our liaison. Li Wei nodded once. Welcome to the team. She forced herself to match his calm. Thank you, sir. No one else in the room knew the weight in those words. The operation unfolded in flashes of light and noise.
Gunfire. Shouts.
The smell of smoke. They moved as if they'd trained together all their lives, covering corners, pulling victims from locked rooms, moving through chaos as one heartbeat. When it was over, the building burned behind them and dozens of captives stepped into freedom. Maya stood in the rain again, just like the night it all began. Li Wei approached, helmet under his arm. For a moment, neither spoke. The air between them was heavy, with everything that had never been said. I read your file, he murmured. You kept your promise. I wanted to make it mean something, she said. Everything that happened. He nodded. You did. Silence. Then, quietly, you forgave me once for not trusting you. It's my turn now. She stepped closer. The city lights caught the raindrops in his hair. I never stopped thinking about you, she admitted. Even when I hated myself for it. Li Wei's expression finally softened. Then stop hating yourself. He reached for her hand, tentative, as though touching something sacred. Their foreheads met, the rain cold around them, the moment warm and still. When they finally kissed, it wasn't desperate. It was recognition. Two people who had walked through darkness finding their way back to the same light. Months later, the world called them partners. He handled intelligence. She led rescues. Together they tore through the networks that had once destroyed her life. Sometimes, when the nights were quiet and the city slept below, he would trace the scar on her wrist and whisper, "Never again." And she would answer, "Never again." Because love, she'd learned, wasn't the cage. It was the key.